Good Friday morning. My name is Keith Hudson, and I'm a lay minister for Ratho Presbyterian Church. This is a very busy time for Christians over this last week. We started off with the celebration of Palm Sunday. We moved to Maundy Thursday, where we celebrated with Jesus his Passover feast and the washing of the feet of his disciples, showing that all men must be servants to each other. And then we move on to today, Good Friday. And we're going to experience today the journey that Jesus went through, starting with the arrest in the Garden, Gethsemane, where Judas betrayed him. And then we move on to the court where Annas in the temple interviews Jesus. Now, Annas is the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the high priest. And Caiaphas is the one who had prophesied that Jesus would die within the year. Jesus is taken on to Caiaphas, and then he was taken on to the Roman appointed king of the Jews, Herod. And it's while he's in the court of Herod that Herod feels he has enough information to be able to get an execution order from Pilate, the governor of Rome, for the territory around Jerusalem. While Jesus is with Pilate, he talks 2 or 3 times with him, and Pilate keeps coming back to the representatives of the temple and saying, basically, I can find no reason why I should give an execution order for this man. They continue to complain and demand that Jesus be executed. At last, Pilate decides that he only has one out. It is tradition that one person be pardoned who is a prisoner during the Passover period. So he puts forward to the people Barabbas, who is a known rebel, and Jesus. And he expects that Jesus will be granted pardon, because it was only a week ago that Jesus had a triumphant entry into Jerusalem, and the people were there singing and praising him. But today, the people ask for the pardon of Barabbas and demand the crucifixion of Christ. From there, Jesus is taken up to the hill outside of Jerusalem called the Skull, and he, along with 2 other thieves, are nailed to their crosses. Crosses are put in position, and the agony of the day begins as they wait for the death of these 3 people. Let's take a stop there, and let's join together as we sing the Old Rugged Cross.
Trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. satisfaction for me. For the dear Lamb of God left His glory above to bear it to dark Calvary. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. Then He'll call me someday to my home far away, where His glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown.
We pick up the story with Jesus hanging on the cross, looking out. In the distance, he sees some of the followers that had followed him during his mission days on earth, his ministry. We see a small gathering closer to the cross, consisting of the Marys that were close support to him. One of the Marys is his mother. And we hear Jesus say these words. When Jesus saw his mother there and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, he said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." And to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, his disciple took her into his home. In his last moments, Jesus showed the compassion that we'd expect from Jesus to ensure that his earthly mother is looked after. Now, we also know that on both sides of him were thieves. One of them mocked Jesus, because over Jesus' head was a sign that said, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." And this thief said, if you are really the Son of God, save yourself and save me. And then on the other side of him was the other thief. And he said, "Be quiet. You and I are here because we did the deeds that we're being punished for. He is innocent. He shouldn't be here." And then he said to Jesus, "Forgive me. And may I be able to join you at the end of the day in the kingdom." And Jesus granted him forgiveness of his sins. And Jesus said to him, "Yes, I will welcome you into the kingdom at the end of the day." for Christians, this is a powerful moment because we see the gift that God has given us, the gift of compassion that Jesus has shown his mother, and the gift of forgiveness that Jesus has given through his death to all of us who are believers in Jesus Christ. Now, it's interesting that after Jesus is declared dead, and to ensure that he was dead, they took a spear, one of the guardsmen, and shoved it up under his ribs into his lungs and heart. But it was Joseph of Arimathea that came and asked for permission to take the body down and to put it in his grave, and permission was granted. Now we learn that he was a recent follower of Jesus, but he had the courage to ask. And we're also told that he was assisted by Nicodemus. Yes, the same Nicodemus that came to Jesus at night and asked questions about his faith. And we're told that they sprinkled the spices and wrapped Jesus in the linens that are the tradition of the Jewish when they're preparing the body for burial. Jesus is placed into the tomb, and a large stone is rolled down to cover the opening. Now Pilate had ordered that there be 2 guards that would stay there until the following morning to ensure that no one took the body. Now we know this should be the end of the story. Jesus had 3 years of his ministry. He fulfilled all the prophecies to declare him Messiah. But we also know that this is not the end of the story. This is the beginning, because Jesus had promised that in 3 days he would rise, and we will gather in 3 days, Easter Sunday, to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And we will celebrate, and we will celebrate, and we will celebrate. Please be with us. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.